Whenever I have friends that are saying their backs are up against the wall or, they're really disappointed about something, I actually get excited for them because I'm like, oh, because your life is calling you forward.
Not sure if this is too personal.
Sure.
Please stop me if it is, but I think you've mentioned previously that you had gotten yourself into a lot of debt
Yes.
during the Great Recession.
Uh-huh.
I'm wondering if we can talk about how you got yourself into debt and how you got yourself out of it.
Sure. So I'll think about it for a second. So when I graduated from Hofstra, I had college debt. But then in 2009, when the recession hit, I was paying my mortgage with cash advances. So everyone that I knew was not working, including my mentors. And it was the very first time I ever thought, oh my gosh, like, one, will my goals happen for me? But then two, what am I going to do financially? I didn't grow up learning about saving and investing and things like that. So when the recession hit, it really caught me. And I was paying my mortgage on cash advances, and that's how I accrued debt at that time pretty quickly because the recession was, almost a year, or the effects of it, I would say, were almost a year. So that's how I accrued debt in terms of how I paid it off. So that was in 2009, 2010. I explained that I went to LA in 2011. So even when I moved here, I used credit cards when it came to all of my dreams. So as it comes to my independent short film that I wrote and directed and everything, I was like, you know what? We'll pay it off later. I wasn't yet thinking about financial freedom. It wasn't until 2014 where I started to feel that, I needed some flexibility. I felt really strangled, honestly, by the debt. And so I really got serious about paying off my debt. And that's actually what sparked me going into workshops, creating consultations, creating another portion of my business so that I could have an extra stream of income, and then also just getting creative. And ultimately ended up debt free, within 2 years.
Wow. Do you regret putting that? Because we always hear just put the movie on a credit card, and it works for some people.
Yeah.
That, believe me, I didn't have money coming toward me as a kid either. So I got myself into debt, a lot of debt, and was actually given advice by some people, just file for bankruptcy. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. And I paid it off as well. But, it's a long, hard road, and it's not very fun, and, it's not glamorous. But would you still go down that path today?
You know what? I would still go down that path. I think it's really important to go after your dreams. One of my favorite directors, his name is Robert Townsend. And so his first film, Hollywood Shuffle, he put on all his credit cards, he maxed them out. And sometimes you need to do that because you don't have other options. So I think I would do it again, especially now, looking at this second round of strikes. So we had the writer's strike back in like 2008, 2009. We are just coming out of another season of 2 strikes in 2023. I understand how I got in that debt. I used to really be disappointed and upset about how I got that debt. But when the tides are turning for almost a year, it doesn't matter if you've been a super saver or not. You're going to be spending your money differently. And that doesn't mean you're frivolous, but I think I give myself a lot more grace about that time period. So I absolutely would do it again.
You would? Okay. No regrets. Okay.
Like responsibly, of course, but it would look a bit different. But I understand the mindset because, when your dreams are calling you and waking you up at night, you really can't put them aside. And if you have the credit cards and you believe that you'll be able to pay it off, again, I'm saying responsibly, I absolutely think, go for it.
Sure. Okay. You said something that I love. You said many things. One of the things is people make changes not because they are inspired to move forward, but because they're afraid of having to go back to something.
Yes, I have said that. Yes.
Yeah. And I think that's so true. I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, I think that great change comes out of fear, to be honest with you. I think that a lot of people, myself included, you want a particular experience, and you got to really fight for that experience. But sometimes if you're too comfortable and you're just in the middle of the road, you don't do anything because it's like, oh, well, it's not too bad, but it's not too good. But if you're like your back is up against the wall, then you're trying to clear everything out to move forward. So I am one of those people that believe that great change comes out of needing great change. So whenever I have friends that are saying their backs are up against the wall, or, they're really disappointed about something, I actually get excited for them, because I'm like, oh, because your life is calling you forward. That experience happened to me around the top of 2023, where it was the first time ever that I was unhappy creatively, like ever in my life. And it was a wake-up call for me to get really serious about reclaiming my joy and having my joy on 10, as opposed to having it, again, like if you're like at a 5 or 6 or 7, you're like, oh, okay. But if it's at a 0 or a 1, you're like, oh, wait, the pendulum has to shift. And so for me, I believe that, if great change comes out of those things, for sure.
Well, I know one of the courses that you've put together is Blessed, Booked, and Busy.
Yes.
And so I don't know if that's something that I was wondering, is that really possible to be busy and then feel like, oh, my life is exactly where I want it? Because with that comes also new stress when you're busy and when you're in demand.
I think being busy also comes with responsibility as well. So when I hear the term busy, I hear occupied or opportunities abound. I don't necessarily hear all the stress with it. Now, you do have to be organized to, function when being busy, but I think that it's possible. And I enjoy, having opportunities on my plate. Now, Blessed, Booked, and Busy looks a lot different at 40 than when it did in my early 30s when I created it. But I would say that it's really key to be organized, but you can be organized and busy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then where does the blessed come in? So you're booked, you're busy, and then how does the blessed look?
Yeah. So, I wanted to name my workshop series Blessed, Booked, and Busy, because blessed is all about, the spiritual aspect of everything, being grateful, being joyful, being thankful for opportunity. And being blessed is understanding the richness of our lives, that we get to be here, that I even get to sit in this seat and talk with you. It's not just a fleeting moment, So I think that being blessed is being anchored in something that's bigger than yourself. And so it was really important for me to tag on blessed to Blessed, Booked, and Busy.
Very nice. Yeah, I love the title of that.
Thank you.
And I know you've talked a lot about the law of attraction
Yeah.
and just kind of like what you're thinking about manifesting. And you said that you were in a part of your life where you didn't feel fulfilled creatively. Mm-hmm. Did you then do a mindset shift at that time, or was it something more in real life you had to do something in terms of actions you had to take?
Yeah, so I'm referencing the top of 2023. So at the time, I was very unhappy with a particular show that I was on. I was also going through a heartbreak, and I was also mourning the loss of my grandmother, who passed summer of 2021 due to COVID. So there were a number of things happening at the same time. Typically, maybe there's one or two aspects of my life that I'm working on more joy. But because it was 3 major ones, it was the first time that I really felt like I am not happy. It was the first time I ever said to myself, I'm not happy. And so that was a wake-up call, again, because the pendulum had swung all the way to like 0 and 1. For me to shift back, I said, oh, I need to really do some work. And so I started doing meditation. I already love yoga, but I was trying different things. So hypnotherapy, which sounds a lot more shishi-foo-foo than it is. But but I would say, I tried hypnotherapy. I also hosted a lot of game nights. I did a lot of activities that brought me joy. I found a new church, began volunteering at that church. I really, really sought within myself aspects of my life that were going to bring me joy and pull me forward. And so that's exactly what I did. So I believe that mindset shifts need to happen often. I think that, once you hit a place of joy, that doesn't mean you always stay there. Life happens. Different things occur, different events occur, but it's really important to be in an attitude of gratitude, be very thoughtful about, am I happy? What do I need to do to shift certain things? Am I having the types of conversations I need to have, like transparent, open conversations? So to answer your question, I definitely had a mindset shift, and those were some of the things that I did.
Thank you for watching the video all the way to the end. Here is a complimentary question from our book Story Questions.